How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. I know it's been a while since my last upload. Apologies for the inactivity. Been super busy lately. Wish you all a happy holiday, staying safe and doing well. With all the craziness unfolding, the uncertainty of the NBA seasons, crazy testing and results getting out of hand, the impact of the regular season standings might affect the playoffs going forward. It's no surprise elite teams like the Nets, Warriors, and Suns have been one of the strongest franchises the last couple of years, while lottery teams continue to rack up high picks. But some teams stuck in the middle and have no identity, dysfunctional and confused, having no chance at competing for a title, but not bad enough to truly land a top 3 pick. With that said, here are the NBA franchises stuck in the middle of no man's land right now. Starting with the Boston Celtics playing uninspired basketball, Brad Stevens stepping down as head coach didn't help the team. Some nights just don't have it together, lacks leadership from players. The team never became the same after the departure of Kyrie Irving. The inconsistency of Jason Tatum, combined with the heavy absence of Jaylen Brown, horrendous team defense, Ime Udoka having a tough time figuring out how to bring the best of his guys as the first-year head coach after 2018. If you were to predict the Celtics over the next 5 years, many would assume they have a finals appearance, but the franchise went backwards, had a solid bubble run in 2020. Other stars don't seem to be interested in playing for this franchise, still haunted by how they treated IT. Offense very disappointing, a 500 record through 28 games unacceptable. In the mix for a play-in, at least they got rid of Kemba Walker, but adding Al Horford, Dennis Schroeder with Josh Richardson hasn't helped the team much, lacks leadership, lacks identity, should easily be a postseason, at least a top 5 seed, but nowhere near the levels of Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Miami. No longer viewed as legit contenders, likely a first round exit again if they continue their usual ways. The Indiana Pacers, the franchise, the definition of being very average, has been a huge bummer last couple seasons. No sense of direction, nowhere near contentions, and not considered a lottery team due to the talent. The lineup of Malcolm Brogdon, Justin Holiday, Chris Duarte, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner should be good enough to be at least above 500. Sabonis reportedly wants out. Turner has been in trade rumors last 3 years. TJ Warren still remains out. TJ McConnell out for the year. There's a bunch of good players on this team, but no true real star in the top 20. Injuries can't be used as an excuse anymore. The players been playing together for some time now, still chemistry issues. LeVert and Sabonis not seeing eye to eye. Rick Carlisle's not doing a great job. Brogdon, Sabonis, LeVert, and Turner might all believe they're the best player on the team. All 3 of them besides Turner in the lineup believes they need the ball more in their hands. They should have a way better record than 13 and 18 overall. Everybody should be held accountable. For a franchise that hasn't won a playoff series since 2014, either first round exits or missed postseasons, 2022 won't look any different. One of the smallest market teams, they must consider whether they want to gamble on a trade package for a risky player or turn to full rebuild mode. Many teams should be interested in some of the starters. Won't be surprising to see 3 of the starters gone before the season's end. The New York Knicks, many Knicks fans will say the team made the playoffs last season. Well, last season was last season because it was very successful after many years of misery and stinking. This season hasn't been quite well. After a hot start, only to struggle, now 13 and 16 overall, they likely end up being in the play-in position. Kemba Walker simply didn't work out, might be gone any day now, but the blame shouldn't be fully on him. Coach Tibbs, known for his defense, doesn't like to adjust and not good offensively. Emmanuel quickly one of the season's disappointments, while Julius Randle not making shots, simply very hard for the team to generate any efficient offense. Evan Fournier hasn't provided much. The team wasn't supposed to make much noise last season to begin with, but already seem to have peaked, other teams figuring them out. RJ Barrett's shooting still questionable, and when Randall gets double teamed and shoots 40%, the multitude of lineup changes leads to more uncertainty. Plenty of trade talk should intensify for the franchise trying to maintain a fair position. This team no longer supposed to be rebuilding and now up for grabs whether they make the postseason. Talent wise, still not very good amongst the best teams in the East. The Tibbs era might be shorter than most expected. Need better players to help the team win a playoff series. As this current roster stands, either no playoffs, 1 and out for the play-in, or losing in a non-competitive first round series. The Portland Trail Blazers, Dame Lillard struggles this season, part of the reason for the team's losing record. Terrible on D, role players in Covington, Nurkic, and Norman Powell are who they are at this point, none of them gonna get any better. The backcourt duo lacks defense, combined with the distractions in the front office hostility with the former GM. Terry Stotts was to blame after many years of not being a real threat for contention. Chauncey Billups doesn't appear to be the solution, who's made his voices heard multiple times, stating a lack of pride, no competitive firepower, with the bench needing to inspire the starters. This franchise doesn't have the qualities of the former 2000s Pistons teams. This team honestly shouldn't have made the playoffs in 2020 if it wasn't for the bubble, had no chance anyway, needed an extremely hot Lillard. Carrying the franchise for too long, once Dame gets cold, the team simply has no chance winning against good teams. Lots of mileage and carrying for the point guard. The team at full strength last season couldn't even take a Jamal Murray-less Nuggets to 7 games. Only reason they got to the conference finals in 2019, Houston being the 4th seed, had to play Golden State in round 2. With Ben Simmons trade talks, this franchise either ends up in the play-in or totally misses the postseason. No dread in the West, no chance getting out of the first round. Good players don't seem to be interested in playing for this franchise. The longer they keep Dame Lillard, who's 31, perhaps heading out of his prime, all these years added on, another season of average basketball record-wise, no trade would sound too crazy for this franchise, desperately trying to seek for answers, simply not good enough at the end of the day. The New Orleans Pelicans, an absolute travesty of a franchise, inexcusable how Zion gets hurt to start the season, delay again with foot issues, so much for his family members already complaining about him wanting out of New Orleans when he's not even available to suit up and help his team. The franchise itself not any better. The disastrous tenure of David Griffin, who's just been awkward, just as bad if not worse than Dell Demps, not trying hard enough to retain Lonzo Ball. The Anthony Davis trade looks like shambles right now. The team's supposed to be fighting for a playoff seed, but instead one of the very worst in the league. The only positive from the season, Devontae Graham's crazy game-winning shot. Other than that, don't expect much positivity for this franchise anytime soon. No leadership to be found anywhere. Jackson Hayes been a mess. Zero culture. New coach after new coach. Zion already having 3 times as many NBA head coaches than Tim Duncan had his whole career. The franchise currently stuck in the middle of trying to be patient or trying to go all out for a trade. Teams simply can't afford to rebuild with the stars of Ingram and Zion being there. It's only a matter of time before the two demands a trade. Given the lack of help, expect Ben Simmons' name to be mentioned for this franchise very soon. The Sacramento Kings, of course they fired Luke Walton. Recently, the team on the verge of having the longest streak of missed playoffs hasn't made the postseason since 2006. How old were you back then? Flat out dysfunctional in every way, too up and down, simply not as good as the other teams. De'Aaron Fox, already his 5th season, has not been off to a great start. One of the most disappointing players, just at 21-point average. Defense hasn't been good. Buddy Hield continues to be in trade discussions. Alvin Gentry, a little upgrade from Luke Walton, but won't matter much at the end. Marvin Bagley's time, a huge letdown. Harrison Barnes cooled off big time after a hot start. Halliburton hasn't made a leap from his great rookie season. Bad franchises drafting good players won't change the culture in any way unless it's a generational type superstar. The Bagley trade looking more like a waste by each passing day. Sacramento, the risk of letting him go in free agency for absolutely nothing. It'll be smart to get some sort of deal for him before it's too late. From the 2019 season, this franchise was still competing for a playoff spot well into March, but the team has taken 2 steps backwards and will likely make history of owning the longest playoff drought after 2022. I didn't mention other bad teams like the Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons, Houston Rockets. Those teams obviously rebuilding, play a bunch of high draft lottery picks, and won't be expected to be good anytime soon. OKC will be bad for who knows how long, while San Antonio, more in the rebuilding process, will pop on his way out. Thank you so much for watching this video. More great content coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.